What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today there's been a bunch of news floating around about OP-15. We got normal news about OP-15, we got people sharing some things that have been revealed, and it's time to have a little bit of a chat about them because, well, that's the kind of thing we do on this channel, right? We have a chat about OP-15. Seems like, well, not just OP-15, we have a chat about a bunch of stuff. We've also got a bit of an update about Starter Deck 30 for what it's worth, but we'll get to that in a moment. So, OP-15 then, it has actually just been listed over on Amazon. And that means that we have a proper release date that comes from distributors, and we have a confirmation of the name of the set. The name of the set is The Adventure of the Island of the Gods, and it's not actually over on Amazon. I cannot see it right now, but we are hearing very, very credible rumors of a release date of the 28th of February. Although, again, that's not on Amazon. I'm having a good look through the Amazon listing right now, and I cannot see it on there. So I don't think it's actually been put onto Amazon yet, but it will at some point be on there. But like I say, we have very credible rumors that tell us it's going to be the 28th of February. Now, this is obviously the Japanese release date. We've already had distributor listings which tell us it's going to be out on the 3rd of April over in the West, US, Europe, etc. And that again seems like a very sensible suggestion. That does mean that the gap is closing. That means that we're getting it right at the start of April. Japan is getting it right at the end of February. From the 28th of February to the 4th of April, you're talking exactly 5 weeks. Literally 5 weeks between the Japanese release and our release. Remember, we are heading to a simultaneous release for the One Piece card game. We were told that a little while ago. We are getting to the point where everything is going to be released worldwide on the same day. We know that for Gundam, they started doing that. Gundam came out simultaneously, and sometimes it actually says a day differently because of time zones, but Gundam is getting a simultaneous release date around the world. It's kind of awesome. For me, on a purely selfish level, and I admit that this is a purely selfish level, I kind of like having them released in Japanese first, so it forces me to do the translations, and I get to cover it in Japanese, and then a bit later cover the English reveal, and it's fun for me. I also understand that for almost every other One Piece fan there is, yeah, it's better to get a worldwide release. And certainly, when we talk about the fact that, we have these different metas that we're playing in and Japan's playing in, and then Japan gets them first and we join in later, like by the time OP-13 released in the West, we kind of already knew that it was just going to be an Imu and Ace meta, and we are gearing up this weekend. We are gearing up for the One Piece finals over in Dusseldorf at Bandai Card Fest, and yeah, it really, really, really looks like it is going to be an Ace and Imu fest. So, we get rid of that when we get a simultaneous release. Where we have it releasing in the West and in Japan at the same time, we don't have formats where Japan solves them, and then a couple months later we get to play in the format that Japan's already solved. Which I kind of understand some people might not want to do. So there are serious advantages. OP-15, we're not going simultaneous. There is going to be a 5-week gap between them. But that is not a long gap, ladies and gentlemen. That is not a long gap at all. And this is really exciting for fans of the One Piece card game. We get to have these nice and easily, nice and early. This is awesome. And in theory, as we're heading towards simultaneous releases, the gap should get shorter. By OP-15, we've already got it down to a 5-week gap, and it's hopefully going to go down from there. So what have we got then in terms of the name? The Adventure of the Island of God is what's written on the screen. The very literal translation from Japanese is God, Island, Adventure. So the Google translated the Adventure of the Island of God. Yeah, That kind of makes sense. The little circle in the middle of all the name there, that basically means being possessed by or being related to. So, God, island, adventure, with them in the middle, adventure of the island of the gods. Yeah, all right, that makes perfect sense. And when we saw this initially shown off, when we were told about this initially, we were told that it was going to be Sky Island. And yeah, absolutely, this is Sky Island. Now, the actual name is Skypiea, but Island of the Gods, come on. If you've read One Piece, if you've watched One Piece, there is only one place that will actually... There's only one place that really fits that description. It's Skypiea. So, yay! This is exciting! We're going to get more Skypiea stuff. What is it going to be? I don't know. I wish I knew. The distributors just told us many popular leaders and characters from Sky Island are included. Cool. We are also told that either Brooke or Frankie is going to come around as a leader. That was what was initially shared by distributors. That is not what we've been told by the Amazon listing. But the Amazon listing doesn't actually tell us. It doesn't give you a description of the set. That's come from distributors. Amazon, I don't know why they don't give us a description of the set, but right now there is nothing on Amazon which is actually telling us about that. I'm sorry. It just says it is a box of 24 packs. That is the best description we get over on the Amazon site. But honestly, even this is kind of exciting. Knowing that it's going to be Sky Island, knowing that it's going to be Skypiea, this tells us a lot about the set. And we know we've been running with Enel and Calgara as our Sky Island leaders for a while now. You know, Enel came out in OP-15. Calgara's the most recent one. Yeah, Calgara was OP-08. That was a while back at this point. So who do we get now? And there are some that make sense. Mont Blanc Nolan absolutely makes sense as a leader. Wiper absolutely makes sense as a leader. And I would say, I know some people don't like the Sky Island arc. I've heard that from people. I don't get it. I think the Sky Island arc was awesome. So I'd highly recommend it, even if not everybody loves it, because I think they're wrong. But then we got all these questions of, well, hang on a second, is it still going to be yellow? Up till now, Sky Island has been yellow. 2 mono yellow leaders, bunch of yellow cards. We got things like Satori and Holly. Maybe we get new versions of those. But is it going to remain yellow? Or do we go into other colours with Sky Island? The answer is, I don't know. But I am very excited to find out. The other thing we got a bunch of news from, and this didn't come from an Amazon listing. I'd looked, I could not find an Amazon listing. This case from _PTCG over on Twitter. And they have given us a little bit of an update regarding Starter Deck 30. And when it comes to Starter Deck 30, we are told that it is coming out on the 11th of April. That it is One Piece card game Starter Deck EX Luffy and Ace. And it is priced at 1,980 yen. And again, this tells us a bunch. Number one, it tells us that what we learned from distributors seems to be absolutely legit. Now, that was a Luffy and Ace deck with a dual leader Luffy and Ace. That is what we're being told from the Japanese leaks or reveals, whatever you want to call it. So that absolutely tracks. We are going to be getting this on the 19th of June. Japan is going to be getting this on the 11th of April. So you're talking kind of 2 months. Not quite as soon as we're getting OP-15, but still not a huge gap. Things are getting closer. But we're also told Start Deck EX Luffy and Ace are given a price of 1,980 yen. And one of the cool things about these starter decks over in Japan is that we can look at the price of them, and that tells us what kind of a deck we're looking at. So 1,980 yen. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't make any sense. Sorry about that. Because we've got our regular, ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill deck list, like Starter Deck 29, for instance. They'll have a bonus pack, but they'll just be regular decks when in Japan of a one-card bonus pack. And they are going to come in at about 1,400 yen. We've then got our Start Deck EXs, like for instance Starter Deck 21. And with those, they are the fancier decks, where you get things like sleeves or deck box or something along those lines. But they are priced at about 3,200 yen. Now, I'm worried that there's been a typo on the information that we've been shared here, because Start Deck EX generally refers to things like Starter Deck 21. They've got EX in the title, so that's generally what we're looking at here. They are literally called Start Deck EX. I think it's something more like Starter Deck 21, but it's not going to be 2,000 yen. That's kind of cheap. Unless it's a new type of Start Deck EX, where you don't get sleeves or a deck box, and that brings the price down to 2,000 yen. So there is a little bit of confusion here that will have to be cleared up in the future. But we are told that it is a red-green mid-range deck by distributors, and that it has Paramount War as a theme. So if you're a fan of Paramount War, maybe start getting excited about it. So there we go. That's what you need to know. That's the information we've been shared. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this in the comment section. Tell me your hopes, your dreams, your feelings, and all kinds of fun things in the comment section. Get us! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.